All right, good evening, everyone. We are at 6 o'clock, so I am going to go ahead and call to order the public hearing in KCC docket number 26 ATMG 026 RTS. My name is Andrew French. I'm the chair of the Kansas Corporation Commission. Joining us online tonight are my colleagues, Commissioners Dwight D. Keene and Commissioner Annie Keither. To make participation in this hearing as convenient as possible for Atmos customers across the state, we are also holding this hearing virtually by Zoom, in addition to having you all here in the room with us, and we are live streaming on YouTube. Please do bear with us if we have any technical difficulties, and I can say that happens from time to time. Atmos Energy Corporation, Atmos, is requesting to increase its gross annual revenues by $19.1 million. Additionally, Atmos is requesting approval of a new accounting treatment for cloud computing assets, and it's requesting two tariff changes as well. First, a new tax tariff rider, and second, minor changes to its electronic flow measurement equipment. This evening, you'll hear brief presentations explaining the company's proposal from the company, Atmos. You will also hear a presentation from the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board, CURB, explaining its role in this process. And you will hear a presentation from the Kansas Corporation Commission staff. Following those presentations, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions about the proposal from Atmos. And then you will, in the final part of our event this evening, you'll have opportunities to make public comments on the record for the commissioners to consider in this case. So we will go ahead and get started with the presentations. Our first presenter is Kathleen O'Connor, Vice President of Rates and Regulatory Affairs for Atmos. Ms. O'Connor, go ahead. It is. You have to turn it on.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Great. Good evening. So my name is Kathleen O'Connor. I am with Atmos Energy, and I am the Vice President of Rates and Regulatory for our Colorado and Kansas division. My office is located in Olathe, Kansas. And thank you, commissioners, and for everybody in the room that has joined us tonight for participating in this public comment hearing. It's very important part of the process, and it definitely strengthens the way that we serve our customers. So thank you for being here tonight. Let's see here. Get a clicker. There we go. Oh, apologize for the technical difficulties here. We'll figure it out. Okay, it's a little bit delayed. All righty, so a little bit about Atmos Energy. So we are a natural gas only distribution company. We deliver natural gas to over 3.4 million customers in over 1,400 communities across 8 states. Atmos Energy serves some of the fastest growing and most vibrant communities in the country. Across our system, we operate approximately 79,000 miles of natural gas pipeline, and our corporate headquarters is located in Dallas, Texas, which houses our shared services department, who provides support service to our Kansas employees. The slides go away. Y'all still see my slides? Uh-oh.
Looks like the sharing has stopped. We'll pause for just a moment as IT gets the slides back up. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Wonderful. Okay.
Screen.
Good. Got the thumbs up? All right. Next slide is not working. There it goes. Okay, here we go. So here in Kansas, we take pride in being part of the communities large and small, supporting homes, businesses, and critical essential services that rely on safe and dependable energy every day. Our operations are supported by regional service centers in Olathe, Independence, Yates Center, Harrington, Ness City, Anthony, and Johnson City. These teams are made up of your neighbors, our local employees who respond to emergencies and maintain the system to provide reliable service. Our division office is located in Olathe, Kansas, and we serve approximately 140,000 customers in over 110 communities across the state and operate over 4,000 miles of pipe. Safety is the foundation of our company and drives everything that we do at Atmos Energy. Our vision is to be the safest provider of natural gas services. Safety continues to be the primary driver of our capital program, and over the past decade, the company has invested more than $10 billion to modernize aging infrastructure, including replacement of bare steel, cast iron, and other vintage pipe materials across our division operations. In Kansas, we have invested more than $280 million since 2019 to enhance the pipeline safety, reliability, and lower methane emissions and support growth and economic development in the state. Since our 2022 rate case, we have invested approximately $55 million over and above the amounts eligible for recovery through the System Integrity Program, which is our SIP, and the Gas System Reliability Surcharge, our GSRS tariff rates. Through the GSRS and the SIP, we're working on pipe replacement projects throughout Kansas, focusing on replacement of bare steel, PVC pipes, obsolete materials that are no longer installed by gas utilities. Since 2019, we've replaced over 135 miles of pipeline and will continue to invest in the safety and reliability of modernizing our Kansas natural gas system. Looking ahead, Atmos Energy has committed approximately $24 billion in capital expenditures over the next 5 years to further enhance our natural gas system. Safely owning, operating, and modernizing such a dynamic system requires a strong partnership with the communities we serve, the regulators who oversee our activities, and the investors and creditors who ensure we have the financial resources necessary to meet federal pipeline safety regulations, support system reliability, and mitigate long-term operational risk. Our 2025 rate application reflects an increase of $19.1 million to support the company's actual cost to serve our Kansas customers. An integral element of that cost of service, our application requests an adequate return on equity that will also provide financial support to finance the modernization of our infrastructure to enhance safety and reliability. Several key cost drivers informed this request. $130 million in capital investments since our 2022 rate case, primarily associated with pipe replacement, system modernization, and safety compliance. $4.1 million increase in operations and maintenance expense driven by labor, materials, regulatory compliance, and ongoing inspection requirements. $2.7 million increase in depreciation expense, and the expiration of the state income tax refund, resulting in a $4 million revenue requirement impact. We recognize the importance of affordability, and our rate design seeks to recover costs in a manner that is transparent and justifiable. The proposed revenue requirement results in varying bill impacts depending on customer classes and use characteristics. While the specifics of the impacts are detailed in the filing, the overarching objective is to balance necessary infrastructure investment with cost effectiveness for our customers. Kansas relies on a very diverse mix of energy sources to remain resilient for cold days like today, and especially during extreme weather. Natural gas continues to play a role by providing dependable, around-the-clock energy that supports homes, schools, and hospitals and businesses. Over 800,000 Kansas homes utilize natural gas for space heating, water heating, and other appliances. Kansas natural gas-powered homes experience an estimated $838 in annual cost savings relative to a comparable all-electric home. We also know that affordability isn't just about rates. It's about supporting real people with real needs. And in 2024, Atmos Energy provided $1.5 million in financial assistance to Kansas households. More than 3,400 families received help, and approximately one in four Kansas households qualified for federal energy assistance. Atmos Energy is here to help. We partner with community organizations and agencies and local leaders to ensure customers have access to the assistance they need. So before closing, I want to share a few safety messages. I want to remind everyone to call Kansas 811 before digging. 811 is a free service that comes out and marks all of your underground utilities. So when there is excavation needed, that is very important for us to do. It's also the law to call 811 before digging. And one of the most important messages that we share with our customers is what to do if you suspect a natural gas leak. Natural gas is odorized and it smells like a skunk or a rotten egg. So if you smell gas, act fast, leave the area immediately, and from a safe distance, call 911 and our 24/7 emergency line at 866-322-8667. We always want you to call if you suspect a natural gas leak inside your home or outside of your home. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak tonight, for your engagement in this process. We take seriously the responsibility to provide safe, reliable, and affordable natural gas service to our Kansas communities. The information presented today reflects the cost of responsibly maintaining and improving our natural gas system that our customers depend on. And so at the appropriate time, we welcome your questions and appreciate any of your comments.
All right, thank you, Ms. O'Connor. Our next speaker is Mr. Joseph Astrab. He is Consumer Counsel for the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board, known as CURB, and he's here to explain who their organization is and their role in utility rate proceedings.
Thank you, Chair French. Can you hear me okay? Good. Hopefully my lapel mic's picking up my voice from here. Good evening, everyone. As Chair French said, my name is Joseph Astrab, and I'm the Consumer Counsel for the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board, otherwise known as CURB. Thank you all for being out here. I want to extend my appreciation for members of the public being out here. If you're familiar with CURB, we are a government agency tasked with representing the interest of residential and small commercial ratepayers in Kansas before the KCC on utility service matters. And so having people that we represent here to talk directly to the company, to the commission, and to us helps motivate us and helps us really see, what we're hearing. It really sells the point about what the people are feeling in the state of Kansas. So thank you all for taking time out of your days and lives and being here tonight in this really cold and typical Kansas weather in December. See if I can make the mic work or this work. So as I mentioned before, we're a small government agency tasked with representing residential and small commercial ratepayer interest. This is a breakdown of our agency. As I've mentioned before, I'm the Consumer Counsel. We have two other attorneys in the office who help represent our interest and goals during cases, supported by 3 technical staff members and 2 office assistant administrators to help run the office. So very small agency tasked with being involved with these very complex dockets and cases. So a lot of work, a lot of in-house expertise dedicated to serving people all throughout the year. Not only are we representing people in cases, but also available for questions and any concerns the public may raise. We help kind of shepherd people through that process and kind of give them some insight from real life people versus waiting on a machine or waiting on an email or some automated system online. So what do we do and where do we work at? So as we mentioned before, we practice before the Kansas Corporation Commission in all types of utility matters and dockets like rate cases, but also dealing with changes to their rules and regulations and various programs that they implement. We also participate at the legislative level where discussions about laws that regulate utility matters in Kansas are up for discussion, and we provide input and testimony from the residential ratepayer perspective for our decision makers to consider and to implement into law. And then, of course, we also participate in court cases, having lawyers not working in courts seem kind of weird. So we also participate at the appellate court level where cases from the KCC can be appealed up into the judicial system and proceed like any other court case you might hear, like a civil type trial. So just some regulatory background, what this process is about. Kansas law dictates how your natural gas utilities are regulated. And so Kansas statute 66-1202 requires natural gas utilities to provide reasonably efficient and sufficient services at just and reasonable rates. And so what that means is on a case-by-case basis to take into consideration the needs of the utility and the needs of the public and what it costs to meet those needs at a fair, reasonable price. And so in a rate case like we're facing here today, CURB is just one of a number of parties that are tasked with contributing to the evidentiary record. That is the data, the evidence, the testimony that the commission reviews and considers when making a decision of how to rule on an application to change rates. And so you see in the slide here the various types of groups and entities that can be involved with the rate case to contribute to this evidentiary record. And so having diverse opinions and perspectives helps create a robust record that ensures a fair and reasonable review of all circumstances when making decisions for the state of Kansas. And so it just kind of summarizes our points that having different parties talking about different issues and bringing different matters to the forefront helps really provide a holistic view of needs of Kansans and what it takes to provide service in this kind of dynamic time we're facing around the country. So CURB's process here as an intervener in this case is to review the application, provide our recommendations for the commission to consider changes to Atmos's rates. And there's kind of three dynamics that we consider and perspectives that we look at. First and foremost is affordability. This is the most direct impact to our constituents, the ratepayers, about what's going to be on their bill and how much of my budget is being dedicated towards utility services. And so that's always a concern for us, and we're always working towards making sure that the costs that the ratepayers pay are going towards improving their service and providing reliable service. Which brings us to the second aspect, reliability. That is, we expect service 24/7, that when we turn on our power or heat our homes with the energy of our choice, we expect it to work. And so that's one aspect that kind of can go forgotten about by people in terms of normal usage. But during times of emergency, there's considerations about reliability. And so you have to balance that with investments made to the system to ensure that kind of reliability. And so at times, affordability and reliability may conflict. But that takes us to our third, our CURB's third perspective is resiliency. And what this refers to is looking ahead is what problems do the utilities and regulators see for the future that should be addressed now? What are we spending our money on to make sure that we get the best value for our dollar looking ahead to both a certain and uncertain future with changes going around? And so we want to make sure that these investments today pay off for customers, that they're seeing benefits, and that decisions are being made with the future in mind. So this is a brief breakdown as Chair French discussed the proposals requested in the application by Atmos. So I won't go into details with those, but a brief summary of what those are looking towards that were mentioned by Chair French earlier. And so at this stage, CURB and other interveners are preparing testimony in response to the company's application and their testimony with their analysis and recommendations, which will be filed within the next week or so. And so we're looking to make sure that only costs that are going towards providing reliable service are being included in your rates. And so if anyone has any questions about it after this hearing, our contact information is provided here. We're available by phone and email 5 days a week and sometimes on the weekends. So again, thank you all for being here, and we appreciate your participation in this process. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Astrab. And for those of you, I saw there's still some folks trickling in on Zoom, and we've had a couple people walk in the room. Just a reminder, we're having some presentations from the company and CURB, who just spoke. And now we're going to have a presentation from the KCC's staff to tell us about their role in these proceedings. We'll hear these presentations before we move into the audience participation part of the program. So right now we have Mr. Patrick Hurley with KCC staff for their presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman French. My name is Patrick Hurley. I work for the Kansas Corporation Commission, and I'm counsel for KCC staff. I'm here tonight to provide a high-level overview of the commission and how it operates and explain how staff will analyze Atmos's rate increase application. Staff's analysis includes what is required by law and other relevant areas needed by the commission. I'll also review important dates. Please feel free to take photos of any of the slides. The commission is a state agency headed by 3 commissioners. The commissioners collectively act as a body in determining matters that come before them. The current commissioners are Chair Andrew French, Commissioner Dwight Keene, and Commissioner Annie Keither. The commissioners are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Kansas Senate and serve staggered 4-year terms. The commission has jurisdiction to oversee regulation of several industries that operate in Kansas, which includes but not limited to electric, natural gas, oil, telecommunications, and motor carriers. The agency employs a staff of professionals who provide guidance and input on various technical issues related to these industries. As Consumer Counsel previously mentioned, here's kind of a diagram of kind of how the process works, but administrative hearings at the commission look similar to a trial you would see in state court. The commissioners act as judges and preside over the cases. They hear and weigh the evidence, witnesses testify, and issue orders that can be appealed to a higher court. Atmos Energy Corporation is the applicant and a party in this case. Commission staff is also a party in the case. Often other entities called interveners representing a variety of interests participate in rate cases. Interveners develop and defend their own positions, recognizing that staff's duty is owed to the state of Kansas and to the public. As represented by this slide, the various parties are separate and have distinct roles in this case. Commission staff are dedicated state of Kansas employees that have a tremendous amount of education, experience, professional knowledge, and training in technical fields such as accounting, economics, engineering, and complex financial analysis. As staff's attorney in this proceeding, I will advocate for their neutral, fact-focused analysis based on their experience in the review of Atmos application and the determination of whether Atmos requested rate increase is reasonable. During the proceedings before the commission, staff's main goal is promoting the public interest of the state of Kansas as a whole. Staff weighs numerous competing interests and has developed its own position that it believes is best for all stakeholders involved, including ratepayers and the utility. Staff conducts an independent review of Atmos's rate increase application request. This review includes an in-depth examination of Atmos's finances, which allows staff to evaluate the application for accuracy and compliance with Kansas law and commission regulations. A determination of the costs the utility is entitled to recover under the law from consumers it serves. Identifying any positive or negative impacts on customers, the utility, and the public generally. Includes an evaluation of the structure of the utility's rates to ensure they are fair and based on underlying costs to serve those customers. Staff's role is to provide independent assistance to the commissioners in balancing competing interests and evaluating the total impact of the application for Atmos's ratepayers. The last several months, staff has been working on this case, devoting most of their days, nights, and weekends analyzing Atmos's application. Staff will file a comprehensive analysis of its position in the form of testimony on December 8th, which is next Monday. Initially, staff presents its recommendations to the commission regarding Atmos's application, but the commission will make the final decision. You will be able to access staff's testimony by going to the commission's website and clicking on the KCC Connect link. Then click on the search box and type the case number listed on this slide, and then select Filings tab underneath the case number. We encourage you to read through the case documents and keep up with the proceedings. As Atmos highlighted earlier tonight, and Consumer Counsel briefly went over the application, and so did the chair, but basically they're looking for a $9.1 million increase or 11.2% monthly increase for residential payers. There's a new tax tariff. Back in 2022, the Tax Act was passed into law in August, and that included a new 15% alternative minimum tax plus credits. So Atmos would like to collect or refund tax amounts paid or credited to customers within 12 months and earn a return on the deferred tax asset. There's a new accounting for cloud computer assets. They'd like to capitalize or earn a rate of return on the cost for those contracts that are over a year, in line with FERC account 399.08. And there was also a request to capitalize equipment. The remaining deadlines in this case are shown on this screen. The most notable one for everybody here tonight would be the current public comment period will end at 5 o'clock on January 20th. So you must submit your comments, if not otherwise submitted tonight, by January 20th at 5 p.m. And then as this slide shows here, that's another technical part of where you click and where you go and how you submit a comment on our website. You go to the KC Connect and then submit a comment. We appreciate everybody's time here today online and in the audience. We welcome your comments and look forward to your input. This is a very important process and it's very helpful for all of us here today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hurley. That wraps up our presentations from Atmos, Curb, and KCC staff. At this time, we will now start a question and answer session. And I do want to emphasize this session is distinct from the public comment session. This is an opportunity to ask questions of these presenters, the company, KCC staff, and Curb to better understand Atmos's proposal in this case, or to understand the role that Curb and the KCC staff play. This is separate from the public comment opportunity, which will follow in a separate segment. If you wish to make a formal comment for the commissioners to consider in this case, please save that for later this evening when we will ask for public comments. If you're attending in person tonight and you plan to make a public comment, please be sure to sign up with our public affairs staff in the lobby if you haven't done that already. I will be calling names from that list, and also from those on Zoom, I'll be calling from you as you raise your hands. Okay, for those of you in the room, if you wish to ask a question about the company's proposal, please simply form a line back at this microphone in sort of the back corner here, or middle corner here. For those participating on Zoom, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature, and I will call on you in the order I see those hands online. And I believe you can access the raise hand feature using the react button at the bottom of your screen. And I'll do what I can to alternate between those here in the room and those on Zoom, as long as I see hands popping up for questions. So at this time, we will start the Q&A session. Again, just a reminder, this is not the public comment session. These are not officially recorded public comments. This is just questions and answers for the company and the other representatives here. So we will start with Q&A. I don't see anybody at the microphone in the room yet, but I have a couple hands online. So we will begin with Art, and I don't have a last name, so.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question was to the Vice President of Atmos. So I did review your fourth quarter numbers, and just going through the fourth quarter numbers, I noticed that your revenue or your profit for the fourth quarter, it was 175 million. Your total year profit, it was 1.2 billion total profit, and your stock is at an all-time high of $170 a share. You also raised your dividend 15% to $4 a share. So this, if you take the total market cap by 161 million shares outstanding, the 161 million shares outstanding times $4, that's $644 million a year that you pay out in dividends. Couldn't you take out the $20 million that you need from that money?
Is your microphone on?
There we go. You guys hear me? Okay, great. Thank you for your question. And, I will say that, our positive financial results are really driven by a reliable system. And so, it's important for us to, have a financially sound organization to attract the capital that we need to continue to invest in our Kansas distribution system. It's really in the benefit of our customers. It allows us to attract capital at lower rates, keeping customer bills, reasonable. And so, while I understand your concern or hear what you're saying about our financial success, but it is really driven and it is a balance that the commission also plays in ensuring that we have access to the financial resources to continue to invest here in Kansas.
All right.
Yes.
We'll go next to the first person at the microphone in the room.
Hi, I'm sorry, you didn't answer his question.
I answered it in the sense that, with
You
with
spoke
our
about the-
financial strength, it allows us to continue to operate and safely operate and deliver natural gas service to our customers.
Okay, so to ask his question again, why can't you use the profits that you've made to finance the, what you're calling getting paid back and continue that reliable service? Why can you not?
So I will say we do take our profits and reinvest those in our system. Absolutely. Those are definitely reinvested in Atmos Energy.
The way he just described it, they're reinvested in dividends.
So while our financial success is not solely isolated to support, our investors, it's really, again, a balance around trying to attract the capital that we need to invest in our system.
Okay. What Atmos doesn't serve just Kansas, so where else, what other states are you increasing your rates and what are those rate increases?
Sure. So we've had rate activity across several of our other states. So we operate in Texas, we operate in Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky. Let's see here. Who else have I? Tennessee, Colorado, our other division here, and I'm missing one, Virginia. And so we have had rate activity across all 8 states this past year. I don't know the specifics about the individual rate increases for each one of those jurisdictions, but that is something that is available on our website that you can access. We notice all of those filings on our website.
And then how, if the money is, if you're given the increase you're looking for, how can we ensure that that money stays within Kansas and not going to other states that you now serve?
So the request that we're asking for here is specifically to recover the costs that we have already incurred in Kansas. And so the increase that we're requesting here will serve Kansas.
How do we,
All right,
mean-
we're
how do we know?
if you've got more questions, maybe just move to the end of the line. Want to make sure we get through everybody. We'll do them one at a time. Let's go to the next hand online. Kristen McGill.
I think I'm gonna start on the same page there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. McGill, you're breaking up. All right, we're going to move to the next hand online. Maybe Ms. McGill can get her connection fixed. All right, Jennifer Gladbach online?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So you want to make a rate increase to us for money that you've already spent because you want to reimburse yourself as a company for money you've spent. That doesn't seem right to me. Not only that, the citizens of Kansas City, Kansas are looking at an 8% personal tax increase on our properties in the coming year. A mayor that's looking to add a 1% sales tax to us, or income tax to us like Kansas City, Missouri does to their residents, and you want to raise our rates. It doesn't make sense to me that you want your customers to refund you for the stuff that you as a company are responsible for doing anyhow. I mean, why aren't you making changes corporate wise, as in reducing dividends that you pay out, or, my company has to make changes to their health insurance, which increases their, makes me pay more, but increases things for them. Why aren't you guys doing that instead of making your customers pay for something that you've already done because now you want a refund and reimbursement?
So thank you, Ms. Gladbox, for your comments and your question. Yes, these are costs that we have already incurred. And as a natural gas utility, we have an obligation to serve our customers. And this is truly our cost to provide that service to our Kansas customers. So I wouldn't necessarily phrase it as a refund to us. It is truly the cost to provide that reliable service to our customers.
But refund
right.
was in one of the PowerPoint slides stating that Atmos is looking for a refund of
So
money.
it was an
I don't know if it was your
expiration.
slide or whose slide it was, but the person speaking literally said they looking for a refund of money. And I don't believe that it's correct that your customers should be the ones footing the bill for a refund. The company should be looking at other avenues within the company of cuts that they can do, because there's a lot of people that can't afford 11% increase in their bill. I mean, my heating bill in the wintertime is anywhere from $150 to $200, and my thermostat is set at 60. Okay? So, I mean, you guys need to do something to help the people, not in a
All right,
situation
Ms.
of,
Gladbach,
just
Ms.
let me finish.
Gladbach, this is
Can I
Chairman
just finish
French.
this and I'll be done?
I would just like to remind you, this is a question and answer period, but we will welcome your comments during the
If she's
the
not
next
answering the
public comment
questions.
session. We are going to move to the next person in the room. Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Tom Herr. I've been a resident here in Kansas City, Kansas for all my life, really. I think the last time that I've experienced like a cost increase was probably a couple of years ago, but I'm in a house that's about 2,000 square feet, and I've been paying consistently about 200 to 250 every winter. So I guess I want to let you know that the burden that your customers experience is very real to us. And I'll get to my question. So something that bothers me about this process, the way that you guys say comment, because it doesn't sound like a two-sided way of discussion. So my question to you is, how far does my comment go to you? How will you consider my comment? And do we have any way to talk down this rate that you're asking to increase?
So the overall process will work with the commission and with CURB and all the interveners. But yes, we take all comments seriously regarding your natural gas bill. We have resources available to help our customers with their natural gas bill. We encourage our customers to give us a call. We have, installment plans that we offer to our customers. We also have budget building where it annualizes your natural gas bill, and so that you can manage on a monthly basis what that and can expect what that monthly bill is going to be. So I appreciate you being here tonight, and I would encourage you to please reach out to Aaron Bishop, who is our manager of public affairs, who is out in the lobby. He will be happy to answer any questions specific to your account, and can definitely share those resources that are available.
So what about my second question? Is there any way for any of us here to talk down this rate if we can't remove it? Is there any way before we waste more of our time here?
Absolutely. Everybody up here is taking your comment into consideration.
I'm going to have KCC
So yes or no?
address your question, actually.
So my name's Chad Unrein. I'm Chief of Accounting and Finance here at the KCC. We fully understand the inflationary expenses that all consumers are absorbing across the economy. Your input as well as everybody's input does matter. It influences, and every comment I can guarantee you will be read by the commissioners before they make their decision. From our standpoint, what we try to look for, rates are set on a historical basis in Kansas. And so it is accurate in saying that plant investment that has already occurred is going to be recovered via this charge. But some of the gas safety and reliability investment, some additional costs that are on customer bills, like the net price of natural gas, fluctuates. And so, we're only looking at the base rate impact right now. In comparison to our last rate case back in 2022, gas prices for natural gas in the area were, uh, roughly $1 on average higher than what we're experiencing right now. And so we have seen a lot of O&M growth of the total Atmos's request of the 19.2 million. Roughly about 10 million of that is just changes to the net plant and their overall growth in investment that has occurred. And we come back and we'll look at, the requested return on equity. We look at the percentage of the cost of debt. All of those factors into staff's filing. We will make our filing next Monday. And that's really kind of from a rate perspective in Kansas, how your guys' participation tonight impacts the overall process.
If I may put a finer point on that as well, too. This is all being recorded. It's part of the official record. And so when I talk about that evidentiary record, this is part of it, too. So the commissioners, when making their decision, they can go back to the recording of this this evening and listen to your comments again. They get the written comments we review as well. And so, any statements you make here today does become part of the discussion and determination of the rate case. So that's kind of your direct access here. And then, of course, as well, you can always reach out to Kerr and KCC staff about concerns as well. And, we listen and take consideration when formulating our technical analysis as well, and consider those kind of like equity and policy type arguments as well. And so this process is a part of the overall record. And so things you say here do get recorded and reviewed as well. And so it's not just shouting into the dark, if you will.
So what will it take?
All right, I'm gonna go to the next question online. If you want to circle back, we can get to you again. On my screen, I've got Monique Bresnick next.
Yes. I am not a numbers person, and I understand that you guys have some kind of flow chart or PowerPoint or whatever. And I will get to my question, but I'm in my situation, I don't have a two-person income. My husband died in July this year. So I have I'm my only source of income. So with this rate increase, it's gonna be pretty tight for me. And I just wonder, why is this coming out now? This is the worst time to be doing this right now. People are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs. they're in food lines, and I am worried that I'm one step away from being on cold pavement right now. So I'm just wondering, I understand, you got flow charts or what have you. That I don't understand. I'm not going to quote any what kind you guys said, or I don't know. But my point is this. Why is this coming now? Why am I going to get charged for 11%? And I'm in a situation where I don't have a two-person income. I don't have kids here, but my thermostat is at 60. That's it. That's all I can afford. So I'm just wondering, why is this coming now when the economy is like it is?
Thank you for your comment, and I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your husband. As I mentioned earlier, we have resources available for our customers who are struggling to pay their natural gas bill, and we are here to help. We encourage our customers to give us a call. Um, there is assistance available. We partner with local agencies. Just last week, we partnered with Catholic Charities and did an energy blitz where customers who were struggling to pay their bill or were disconnected, we completely eliminated that balance for them and got them turned back on. So again, I encourage everyone to come, that is struggling, to please give us a call because we want to help those customers. As far as why this is coming now, I mean, as I presented in my slide, we've got a revenue deficiency. The cost to operate the Kansas system and to serve our customers is outweighing the rates that we are currently charging our customers. And so that is why we are here today. I will say, throughout this proceeding, as you saw in that procedural schedule, the commission will issue an order, and rates, if approved, will go into effect in the spring. So it will get us through this winter season, but that is the anticipation of the conclusion of this rate proceeding.
All right, we're going to go to the next question here in the room. Just a quick time check. We're 13 minutes away from 7 o'clock. That's when we're going to end the Q&A period. So if you're a repeat questioner, or if you think your question might be more in the form of a comment, hopefully you can save that and we can get as many questions answered in the next few minutes as we can. So to the next person in the room at the microphone.
You've repeatedly been proud of the assistance that's available for Atmos. But on your slide, you said there was $1.5 million in assistance available. There are approximately 4 million people in the state of Kansas. And you said 1/4 of households was eligible. That's approximately $2 per household. I'm curious as to how that's a helpful number.
Well, that 1.5 million is for the Atmos Energy customers, which is about 140,000 customers.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
It's available.
The other question is, what is the price increase for corporate and for industrial customers versus the consumers?
So let me see. I got that rate bill impact here. So our commercial customers were asked on an average monthly bill impact, it'll be about $26.
And what is that in percentage?
I don't have the percentage in front of me, but we can definitely get that to you.
If you like, you give me the numbers, I'll run them for you.
Okay,
I have a
well, so
calculator.
the current commercial bill is about $352, and the proposed is $379. So I can do that.
Okay, what about
math.
industrial?
Industrial customer, we're asking for $184 monthly increase.
Out of 30, what is it? 3,200, 3,500? What is their average bill?
Their average monthly bill is about $3,288.
Okay, we're going to go to the next question online. Ms. McGill, I know we had an audio issue with you earlier, so I'm going to go back to you. Let's see how you sound now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you now.
Wonderful, thank you. My question kind of revolves around the same things that other people are asking, right? I don't know that I actually saw the cost that Atmos has where they're saying, oh, we're undercharging you. So if you guys can make that available on your website for us to look up later, that would be great. That's just a comment. The second thing is I'm wondering, and I think a lot of people are wondering, is with the economy the way that it is right now, the idea of increasing something like this is a little bit overwhelming. And you know, you say, oh, it's only $10 a month. Well, next year, what is it going to be? And it's really hard to look at when you see. So my question for, I guess, Kansas officials is, what are you guys doing to kind of mitigate or delve into? Like if their C-level people are making 13 million a year, and they're worried about making up 19 million, I see a nice little spot for them to maybe recoup some of that money. So where is the government kind of coming in? Like if this is our only option to say, hey, no, let's only do 2% instead of 11. Here's where you can find money on your end. Because it doesn't feel like this is like a it's not capitalism because we can't choose our energy provider. It is Atmos. So we look at you as government officials to do the right thing for the people and hold ground and say, hey, this is not the market or the economy to start charging people more. I understand that they have things out there so that people can apply for assistance and help. But I have this great feeling that if they do this, there's going to be a lot more people applying for assistance and help versus you just helping us on the forefront. Like, let's not make this difficult for everyone so that we have to go apply for assistance. Let's just make this a much easier. 11% is, I don't know. So my question is, what are officials at the Kansas level doing to look at how they're spending the money and where the money can be recuperated if this is the only option that we have? We don't have another option to go to a different company that can provide cheaper energy.
I'm going to turn that question to Chad Unrein with the Kansas Corporation Commission staff.
Yes, so from the perspective of staff, we're looking to try to balance the interest of both ratepayers, shareholders, and come down with a fair and adequate, response. Generally, we look at the amount of investment that comes into Kansas. I mean, Atmos is a multi-jurisdictional state. It's set up, but we get some of the benefit from an allocation over overall kind of general costs or administrative costs. And those benefits kind of flow back to customers. So instead of having, individual people within every state jurisdiction, calculating and getting a check based on that, it's kind of pooled in some of those resources. We look at the overall changes in operations and maintenance costs. We look at changes in the overall payroll of Atmos, and all of those things are reflective in our overall costs. And I know we've talked about affordability quite a bit in our discussion so far. I mean, right now, one of the factors we do look at is the actual bad debt costs that, functionally get socialized. Right now, it's basically 0.3% of the overall Atmos revenue stream. And so, from a bad debt perspective, we're talking well under 1%, that ultimately gets socialized back to customers. And so we definitely want to respond to affordability. We want to keep costs as low as otherwise possible. But there is kind of the real ramifications that if Atmos really does need to, replace a lot of infrastructure in a quick manner, they have to go to the capital markets to do that. And we want those capital markets in the perspective of a winter storm Uri, to be able to come in and provide adequate, backdrop, and those shareholders are also needing to provide some rate of return or risk on the overall investment. So it's not something that we're looking at holistically, only from a retail ratepayer standpoint. We look at the overall health of the company individually and the reliability and resiliency of the system, and try to make the best decision for the ratepayers in general.
All right,
Great.
we've only got 4 minutes left in the Q&A session, and I can see we've got a lot of people.
Extended, thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and go to the next person here in the room at the microphone, and again, be succinct if you can, so maybe we can get to another question.
Quickly, have you ever not been granted a rate increase that you've asked for?
As far as I know, we, here in Kansas, we have not had a rate increase. I will say we have never got 100% of our rate increase.
And then quickly, the first two speakers mentioned
We're actually going to go to the next question online because we've got a lot of people in line here. So let's go to Kenna Rohrenbach.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I think most everybody feels, my question is for the KCC. I think most everybody here feels that they are depending on 3 people to make a decision that's best for everybody in Kansas. Now, I know that we don't have another provider or anything like that we can go to. What can the people do to feel like that they have some sort of control, input? Where can they go? Where can they find information? Where can they comment? Who can they write to? Who can they call? Who can they talk to express their concerns? And maybe, push for, a little bit better, I'm sure that everybody would agree with the rate increase, to keep our infrastructure together. But I don't know that everybody would be on board with the increase that they're proposing. So where can they go to do that?
So the best spot to go to is the KCC Connect website. And, staff will file its position next Monday, and we will put that on record. The comments you make here tonight obviously are taken into account. And you can submit a comment online at the KCC .ks.gov. But from our perspective, we're here to try to balance the interests of the parties involved in this rate case. We actively try to support the ratepayers, and we do take your comments into consideration.
And I'll just note that the staff has put the public comment information back up on the screen at this time, and we will show that again later tonight. Okay, we've got 2 minutes left. I see a new face at the microphone. This may be our last question, but go ahead.
Our questions. Be another session. That's fine. We can extend this one. I have time. I think that you guys have time as well.
You may be able to catch someone during a break or after the public comment period.
We're happy to answer any questions after the session.
I have a couple, but you're going to cut me off. I'm 72 and I'm still working to help pay the bills. So not everyone can ask for assistance. There's only so much money to be given out. And when they do ask for assistance, who's paying for that? I am, right? Is that right? We are?
Paying for the assistance that we provide our customers?
Yes, that raises our rates then, right?
No, it doesn't. That is money that the company is contributing.
It still comes from us. I'm sorry, the
I see what
circular
you're
reasoning doesn't
saying.
make any sense.
I see what you're saying.
We gave it to you.
Before, yeah, you don't have it until we give it to you. We have no choice but to pay you, or you'll shut our gas off. And we end up paying for it, whether you agree with that or not, we end up paying for it. So we just want we want you three over here to feel the pain for us. Or defend us. Yeah, we need you to defend us. I don't mind a rate increase, but maybe a whole lot smaller. Please.
Excuse me, miss, and sorry to interrupt, but to my question, the vice president of Atmos didn't really.
No. All right, we are at 7 o'clock. So that's the end of the question and answer period. I can tell that folks are ready for the public comment period. We are
I
going to
actually
take,
wanted her to
we
answer
are-
my question.
we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will get started with the public comment session.
Could we ask questions during that time?
Yeah, during this break, if you have questions, we can certainly come and talk to you about them.
I'm actually through Zoom.
the official public comment period. This hearing is an important step in our evaluation process. We do look forward to hearing your comments. The commissioners cannot engage in dialogue with you during this public comment period, but we may ask questions for clarification. To ensure that everyone wishing to ask or to make a comment has the opportunity to speak, we will be limiting comments to 3 minutes. On the Zoom feed, you'll notice a timer on the screen to help keep track of time. When the timer reaches 0, an alarm will sound and the microphone will be muted, and we will move on to the next commenter. That 3 minutes could go faster than you realize, so please be succinct, be ready to speak when you're called on. Once you're called on, please begin by stating your name and the city or county you reside, as your comments are being recorded and they will become part of the official commission record. If you're participating on Zoom, you'll need to unmute after I call your name. For everyone, please refrain from any inappropriate language or disruptive behavior, as that will result in us silencing the microphone. We do consider this a valuable opportunity for us to directly hear from Atmos's Kansas customers. All right, please either approach the podium as I call your name, or if you're participating on Zoom, you should be using the raise hand feature now if you wish to make a comment. Also, and I'll repeat this later, but in addition to the comments that are made live tonight, the commission is accepting written comments on its website at kcc.ks.gov. Just click on the Your Opinion Matters button on the homepage. Those comments may also be submitted by mail to the Commission's Office of Public Affairs at 1500 Southwest Arrowhead Road. And you don't have to remember all this. It was on the slide we showed earlier. We'll show it again. You can also make comments by phone at 1-800-662-0027. Public comments will be collected, as some previous people mentioned, until Tuesday, January 20th at close of business. These comments will be submitted as part of the official record in this proceeding and will carry the same weight as comments that were made tonight. All right, so we are going to start in the room just as we did with the question and answer period. We'll try to alternate between comments in the room and comments online. So I have a list of those here in the room, and we will start with, and I'm going to apologize if I get any names wrong. Rufus McDonald. All right, we don't have Rufus McDonald, it looks like, so I will go to the next name. Glenda Dubois.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Chair French and other commissioners. It's very good to be here with you this evening. I'm Glenda Dubois, and I'm from Shawnee County, and I am the State Director for AARP Kansas. And we're pleased to have this opportunity to appear before you in yet another utility rate case. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan membership organization that advocates for fair and affordable utility rates and reliable utility service. Natural gas utility service is essential to the well-being of all Kansans and is often a financial burden to senior citizens or older adults and others living on fixed incomes. Comfort and safety in our homes is dependent upon space heating, hot water, and cooking, typically fueled by natural gas here in Kansas. Comfort and safety is essential for gas utility service, and that is actually approaching crisis level now for many, particularly as we are entering into the winter season with natural gas wholesale prices on the rise, then also at the same time a potential rate increase in the double digits, which would really be creating issues for some of our older adults. So I will actually provide online my comments tomorrow, but I wanted to make sure that you are aware of them and that we prepared these along with one of our utility volunteers, Michael Broach, and he has over 45 years of experience with working for the utility companies. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to share our comments with you and appreciate working with you again in the future. Thank you
so much for those comments. And to our IT staff, I don't see the timer on the screen I'm looking at. Can we double check that they have that? That's fine. All right, we will go ahead and keep going. We're going to move to a Zoom participant, and the first on my list is Jennifer Gladback. And I'm gonna,
Okay, there. Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute. My name's Jennifer. I'm in Wyandotte County. I live in Kansas City, Kansas. My comment is I do not see why the one individual who is to advocate for the customer is bringing up Atmos shareholders' needs and keeping them happy. The government people, I thought, are to be there to help the customer, not the company. To ensure if a 3% or 5% increase is more valid than an 11%. Atmos needs to look within themselves itself to see how they can make cuts to save money for updates they need. It shouldn't fall on the customers to cover Atmos poor planning or budget loose falls. Many people do not want to ask for help because they offset the lower bills in the warmer months versus the colder months because their budget allows that money to go to another bill. This is not about what they as an Atmos needs to replace, as they have already said they've already done that and they're looking to recoup their money. It isn't the customer's responsibility to worry about Atmos shareholders getting paid. That is Atmos responsibility. They need to review their and figure out through reviewing their budget. And sadly, there are always years where shareholders take a cut and no pay. That is the business life. So I don't understand why they keep mentioning, well, we need to make the shareholders happy or we need to do this for the shareholders. I thought this was supposed to be about helping the customers and getting the customers' opinions, comments, and questions out there to help us in our budgets because I don't know what Atmos spends money on. In all honesty, I don't care as long as they keep the gas running and they keep rates fair. But when I'm looking at an 8% property income or property tax increase in Wyandotte County, and yes, I know you said this increase is not going to happen until spring, that's still a budget hit to my budget. And that's really daunting to hear. And when you also say that Atmos has never not received their rate increases, I think our government needs to look at that and consider that maybe they don't need a full rate increase that they're asking for. Do a 3%, do a 4%, make them as an Atmos look within themselves and their budget and see where they made pitfalls and to recoup their own money that they have spent. It shouldn't be on the customers to recoup their money that they spent when they are the businesses providing the service to us. Thank you.
all right, thank you, Ms. Gladbach. All right, we're gonna go in the room. The next name I have is Carmen Jarvis.
Hi, my name is Carmen Jarvis and I'm from Olathe. I don't know what percentage of your customers are retired and on fixed incomes on Social Security, but this year we're getting a whopping 2.8% increase for next year. And when you look at all the expenses we have, the increases are literally double digit in almost all of them. So every year we just get farther and farther in the hole. And it's a really hard pill to swallow that you want to do a double digit increase for Atmos. You're a monopoly or you're the only people we can go to. We have no choice, especially when your CEO makes $11.7 million a year in compensation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jarvis. We will now move on back online. The next name I have is Dennis Schaefer.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm Dennis Schaefer, and I'm from Olathe, Kansas in Johnson County. And I've got to echo what the lady just said before me there. I am 64 years old and have become disabled. And my increases on my property tax are going way up this year. But the thing is, I do know that we can go to NGOs to get help. And luckily, I only had to do that once before. So after that, I always put into Project Warmth off of my bill every year. So the lady said that the money that comes to help those people from Atmos Energy comes from the company. I'm not too sure. Maybe she could clarify some other way, but I think that money comes from those people that donated like I did. Now I'm in a really rough time for this year because my furnace is broke down. It's going to cost me about $1,600 to get fixed, and that's my own fault. So I need to go borrow it from somebody, or go to the federal government, or go to Catholic Charities, or go to my church, to another NGO. Also, at this time, it appears that there are so many things that are a little bit dark on this. And yeah, everybody's got to make a living. And I'm proud of that guy making however many $1 million for helping out Atmos. But I have I've made $60,000 a year all my life. And so now I have to wait until I'm 67 instead of 65. So, but I thank you guys for listening to us tonight. And I think Atmos Energy could maybe go over to Catholic Charities and stand in line with me to ask for a little bit of money for them to take care of their equipment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. We will now go back in the room to Rick Marriott. I got that right. All right, we'll move on. Tom Studio? Stewart? Okay, keep moving. So we're going to stay in the room then for Katie Jardine. Okay. We're on a real run here, guys. Kathy Schmidt. Now is your chance.
Just like I was speaking to KCC, I appreciate
Can
you.
you start with your name and your town?
Kathy Schmidt, Olathe, Kansas, Johnson County. And I say that with dread. I appreciate these three people over here. I feel like you're really listening. I talk to you and I thank you. And I'm speaking for thousands of people, not just myself. I have friends. I know these people in Johnson County. Just because you live here doesn't mean you're rich. But everyone seems to think the same way. It's just another $10. It's $10. But then the electric company, they want another $10 or $15. And then the city, we need this. And then the county says, well, we need this. And then the state says we need more. And the federal government says we need more. We're on a fixed income. We're on Social Security. Like she said, we get a little bitty increase. I'm still working so I can pay my bills, so I can live in Johnson County. It's frustrating. Everybody wants more, and I don't have any more to give. It's as simple as that.
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. All right, we're gonna go online, and I believe the next name I have, it just shows up as Art. If you would give your full name and your place of residence to start.
Yes, sir. It's Arturo, and I live in Olathe, Kansas.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So in reality, my question was more to the Vice President of Atmos, and I'll just echo what a lot of people are saying. And I did want to get a response from her because she really didn't answer my question when I first met it. Like I mentioned, Atmos pays out $650 million in dividends to the shareholders. Most of the shareholders have money to spare. And as you've been hearing, most of the people or most of the customers don't have money to spare. So I would think that if KCC is looking at what's fair, they would think that it would be more fair to not give a 50% increase in dividends to the shareholders and not any, not just a 3%, 4%, not any rate increase to their customers. Because if they're looking out for what's the best interest of the customers, they will see that Atmos makes $1.2 billion in profit per year. They pay out $650 million in dividends to the shareholders. shareholders, the shares does not impact the company. The company makes money off the money that the customer pays. That's what the profit that they make. Shareholders, the price of the shares is basically one trade from one person to another. That's what determines the price of the share. And it also depends on the money that the company is making, but that comes from the customers. My question to the vice president is, if they really care about their customers, they would have not increased their dividend 15%, which I think is like $60 million more to the shareholders, and be asking for the customers to pay 12% also. I just don't think it's fair. And in reality, I wanted a dialogue with the vice president, but I'll just make my comment.
Thank you
That's it.
very
Thank you.
much. Thank you. All right, we will go to the next name I have here in the room, and that is Austin Morgan.
Hello, I'm Austin Morgan. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. And the comments really comes down to one thing. When is enough enough? We've already established that Atmos is doing very well. They have a very high profit and they have a significant number of shareholders. I do understand that having a high capital gives you the ability to get cheaper money. But how much cheaper? How much cheaper is your money for getting $20 million more out of the state of Kansas for the next year? Your stock over the last 10 years has had a meteoric rise of 2,943%. Sounds like you're doing pretty well. The KCC is a great organization. I really appreciate them taking the time to come out here and listen to what we're talking about. I also understand that there is a balance between business, performance, and what we have to pay as a state. But your expenses that you have stated you've already spent were already taken out of your bottom line. Your profit is not gross, it is net. And that means you are taking more money from your customers, not just from this state, but from all the states you serve, to a degree that is, frankly, insurmountable for us. The question is, when is enough? People who have a lot view it as a little bit more. People who do not have a lot view it as a whole lot more. And the moving of money from the poor to the rich has accelerated at a rate that, just look at the news. Everyone here knows it. You guys know it. So the question is, yes, I want reliable service. Yes, I want safety. You guys came out to my house and fixed a gas leak just recently. It was a wonderful service. I have nothing but positive things to say about the employees of Atmos. But on the other hand, don't you already have enough money? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Morgan.
Like that.
All right, we are going to go online again to Sheris Bellamy.
Okay, yeah, I'm Sheris Bellamy from Olathe, Kansas. I have a couple of comments. One is the Kansas Corporation Commission has recently increased rates for other utilities in Kansas. One is Evergy. They received a 6.6% increase in their rate, which is almost half of what Atmos is asking. But 6.6% is still high. The other one is the Kansas Gas Service in 2024 got an increase of around less than $4 a month on their customers. And that's another natural gas community or business. And again, Atmos is asking more than double than that are the current customers. So I'm not sure why there's such a discrepancy in what the other utilities are asking and what Atmos is asking. And just to reiterate, the cost of living for is only increasing 2.8% on Medicare payments. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bellamy. We'll go back in the room to Oliver Becker. Could be Beaker. Okay.
Yes, my name is Oliver Becker. I'm from Olathe. My concern on here is that I've been watching my utility bill, particularly my gas bill, grow. And I've been an Atmos customer for almost 50 years. So I got a pretty good idea as to where my bills are. And I've been down at a point when the bills were coming in, winter months like that, maybe tops of $150. Now they're looking at tops of about 300. My month to month had been around 40, 50 bucks during the early stages of it. And now they're up to 80. And I'm on a fixed income. I don't have the luxury of being out here to generate additional income to pay for that. So my question is why should we be looking at a 9 to 16% increase from the utility company when other utility companies are not getting that kind of an rate increase?
Thank you, Mr. Becker. All right, we will go back online. And the next person I have is Kristen McGill.
Hello. I just wanted to reiterate what one of the other gentlemen had mentioned from a standpoint of when Atmos is clearly making tons and tons of money. I understand that it's capitalistic society, but I don't have an option. Atmos is the only company I can use, which means that the government is a part of this, which means that you should step in and say, hey, no, this isn't fair. I don't understand when they've made such great increases in profits by that $19 million investment. They profited off of that, right? So any company that I know, when you invest, you have to invest to make a gain. Why are you pushing that investment back on us after we've already been paying? And clearly they're making tons and tons of money. And so my question is, where do we push back and say, hey, let's be fair to the citizens of this, of Kansas? And no, it's not okay for you to raise our rates by double digits. Not at all. Not when they're making money hands over fists and when people are struggling to survive. So my comment is I would very greatly appreciate for KCC to look in and figure out how do we work with, because we do like Atmos. We like the stability. We appreciate the service, but how do we work together? This seems a little bit extreme considering all of the money that they've made out of the investment. Why are they pushing it back on us? The second comment is when she had made, when I say she, Atmos VP had mentioned something about, or maybe it was in response to my question of what you guys were looking at, there's bad debt. And someone else made the comment, who pays for that bad debt? We do. You're rolling it back into us, even after you've claimed it on your taxes. Your bad debt, I don't consider it bad debt. It was investment. And I don't want for everyone to have to go to Catholic Charities or everyone else because no one can afford their bill. Because essentially what's going to happen is all going to roll back to the people who barely can afford it. Anyways, thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment, Ms. McGill. We will now move in the room to Tom Her.
My name is Tom Her. Like I said, I live in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. So I guess first, thank you, Atmos, for doing your part and just hearing us out, I guess. I'm personally okay with paying for Atmos's energy in this infrastructure project. But like what most people here have voiced, I'm not okay if this money is directly used for profits and it's for salary increases for your workers. It's hard for me to trust that this subject is treated responsibly when I feel like we haven't experienced transparency in our questions we've asked tonight. So here's a serious comment from me, because that seems like it's the only currency we have here. So I think if Atmos is truly interested in showing that they care, they would show the cost breakdown of how this 19.1 million will be spent. I think if Atmos is truly interested in showing if this dialogue truly means anything to them, they would tell us exactly what it takes to talk down this price, because it doesn't really seem like we have any authority there. And I think if Atmos wants to show that they value their customers, they will pursue some sort of cost savings project to help the customers save money. And not expecting this cost savings to completely save the 19.1 million, but maybe just a few million, or maybe a few thousand, or even just $1. So I think if Atmos, well, I know you guys have PMPs and engineers and data analysts, but I don't know if there's any effort in their part to kind of help us pay down this cost. So that would mean something to us, like some sort of cost savings project. So please consider this comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. We're now going to move back online, and the next hand I have is Monique Bresnick.
Yeah,
Ah,
I just want to reiterate what I said. I don't understand where this is coming from. Catholic Charities, I believe, is an entity where people donate money to them to be allocated for people that cannot afford their Atmos bill. So we're relying on taxpayers or people that want to donate. If I'm saying it, I'm not sure. So there are people that are hurting more than others. I don't know what my situation is. That I know somebody may have the worst possible scenario for what their household is. But I'm not making it, I'm better than them or what have you. But I am going to reiterate the fact that this is coming out of nowhere. And I don't look at flow charts. I will say that every time. What I want to see is just I don't want to see numbers. I want to see that Atmos is for the people, not like a dollar sign. Well, I feel like I can't speak for other people, but I feel like a dollar sign. Everybody's got their hand out. You got your hand out. Maybe Evergy's got their hand out. Everybody's got their hand out. And with the current climate that's going on, it's a trip. Like, it's just you guys are just making it like you're enjoying it. So that is my comment. But I'm not really happy about this. I know people in Johnson County or in the state of Kansas can agree that this is a joke, and I don't think it's funny. So, with that being said, I'm gonna end my conversation, but I don't appreciate people having their hand out. And I'm not trying to make my situation worse because my husband died this year, but that's my statement, and I think you guys are a trip. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Bresnick. All right, we will go back in the room. I'm going to need a little help with this last name. Mark Ilosic?
All right, I'm Mark Olusky. I'm of Linwood, Kansas, or Leavenworth County. I'm actually speaking a little bit on a different topic of commercial because this was something that wasn't brought up. I know it was just kind of touched on. I received the rate increase notice just like everybody else is as residential, but we're a commercial account. And I know we are affected, but I don't know how much. I feel like we should have most definitely been alerted with an actual rate increase for a commercial account. We're a seasonal business. We actually operate a greenhouse. So natural gas in the wintertime is the most precious commodity we possibly have. We make 60% of our revenue in April, May, and June. And in January, February, and March, we make very, very little. That is our highest point of natural gas consumption. So our natural gas bills in a year is somewhere around $300,000. An 11% increase, or whatever it is going to hit us about $30,000 in an annual basis. That's now also in January and February, it's like $100,000 for those 2 months. March, April, it's about $100,000. The worst time of the year, lowest point of revenue. We do not have any installment plans offered to commercial. This is a really big deal, and I would put this to Atmos. I would also put this to the Kansas Corporation Commission because I don't understand why a commercial account doesn't get the same treatment that a residential account is. Now, I understand the difference because I'm also a resident of Johnson County and I pay natural gas bills here. But it still affects a business. We have to make a budget for my business. I have to set my budget for 12 months out, just like Atmos does. But the difference is I can't go to my customers in the middle of the season, the middle of the year, or go to my employees and cut them back because I have to pay 2 or 3 times what I already pay on natural gas consumption. And I'm at the mercy of the weather just like everybody else is. I have no choice but to pay. And if I don't pay, guess what? I get cut off and my business is completely gone. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you very much. All right, I have one hand online, but I think it's a repeat comment, so I'm going to stay in the room to make sure everybody gets to make their first comment before we take any potential repeats. So the next name I have on my list in the room is Forrest Hensley.
Thank you. I'm Forrest Hensley from Overland Park, Kansas. I want to thank Ms. O'Connor for the discussion we had during the break. She let me make some of my comments there. Excuse me. One of those is that I think Atmos has really misread the room here. And I think you've gathered that from what everybody's saying here about increases and everything else in their life. And I want to play off of something that Mrs. Schmidt mentioned earlier about getting taxed out of her house. And that's the big picture you're missing here, I think. You know, if for a lot of us, it's no surprise that there's an increasing elderly population in Johnson County. And, you know, back when you applied for your mortgage for your house, there was what they call an underwriting process. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. And in that process, they have what they call front end and back end debt to income ratios. Well, that's all done at the time we apply for the loan. But then we go through our work life, we retire, we're on a fixed income. What happens? We have a bunch of wild cards in that underwriting process all of a sudden. Our evaluations on our homes go up and even without a vote because the appraisers bump up our evaluations. Mine went up 30% last year on the assessed valuation. And I didn't make any capital improvements to my house. So what's happening is people are either approaching or have gotten to the point that if they went into a bank today to try to qualify for a loan on their house, they wouldn't qualify. And that's the big picture that's going on here. And that's why I think Atmos has really misread the room when you come in with an 11% increase like that. And the other observation I had, and Ms. O'Connor answered this for me, but is in reading the filing, I saw there was comments in there that part of this increase is to have a revenue stream such that it makes you more attractive to the capital markets. And my question to her was, Well, I didn't see anything in there about when or if you were going to have to access those capital markets. Now, she said, well, that's an ongoing process. But it seems to me there's probably something there that could be ratcheted back a little bit, at least. And then I want to play off of Mr. Herr's comment too about a cost-cutting project. I'm sure you've done that already. I think it needs to be done again, more ruthlessly. And that's what it has to be, is I've been through those. They have to be ruthless. So that's my comment. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your comment. All right, next, staying in the room, Andy Haney. We'll get that recorded. Thank you. Staying in the room, Kaylin Siebert.
Scalen Zealand, Nexa, Kansas. Again, thanks for coming here today. Not trying to be too contentious, but obviously have some strong opinions about things. So that 11.2% rate increase, 19.1 million, Kevin Akers, CEO bonus cash or cash equivalents, not bonus stock options, not base salary. 2024, 1.918 million, 2023, 1.581, or excuse me, 1.518 million. 2022, 1.326, 2021, 0.9 million, and these are on millions, right? Just to not have to say the whole number. 5.662 million over the last 4 years in cash or cash equivalent bonuses. This is very poor management. That is 29.64% of the proposed rate increase that would the revenue that would be generated from that. Corporate commodity monopolies are not great. We do not benefit from them. A few individuals benefit from them. Atmos has done a very poor job of managing their cost infrastructure over the last decade. All of these costs that we're talking about were foreseeable. And I can almost guarantee that there were meetings in which there were engineers and other intelligent people saying that we need to allocate funds to maintain this infrastructure, or we will have very costly problems in the future. And I think that those people were ignored. And I think now the folks at Atmos and the executive level management C-suite have come up with a great idea of just proposing another rate increase, even though natural gas prices continue to fall. And the only reason that I can see to justify that rate increase is for the very poor mismanagement of funds in the past. I think it's extremely offensive. Personally, I am offended. I think it's very straightforward. I do not think it's very creative. And I really hope that the KCC can actually decline this rate increase and maybe tell Atmos that they should look at their cost structure again, as other people have indicated, maybe a little bit less forcefully previously. So, again, I think we should probably start holding companies responsible for their fiscal decisions. Again, Atmos Energy has chosen to invest in optional executive cash bonuses instead of the necessary investments to infrastructure. That is problematic, and I am angry, and I think that we should have the option to decline the rate and look for someone else to manage our utilities moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Siebert.
Yeah,
All right.
Just singer.
Let me call a couple names that folks weren't here when I called them before. I just want to see if they're in the room now. Rufus McDonald. Like still no. No, I think that was Mr. Becker. Is that right? All right, no Rufus McDonald. Rick Marriott. All right, then we are through the list of names in person. I will go, I've got one hand online. I believe it is Art. What's that? Go ahead, yes.
My name is Kevin Hardinger. I live in Johnson County since 1969. And my comment is directed to the KCC folks. This increase, let me start over. My Social Security increase this year is 2.8%. The increase in the utility at 11.6 would constitute a full 1/3 of my Social Security increase. That's very unique to me. But what I did want to say is that according to the US Census in 2020, there were 3 million people that lived in Kansas. 44,000 live solely on their Social Security. So, KCC folks, I think when these utilities come to you with a big number like this, you should think about the old people, the people that are living on Social Security. And I would propose to you that if the federal government increases our Social Security by 2.8%, that the utilities can't charge us any more than a 2.8% increase. You have the power to do that, and they'll get all the money they need from the other 2,960,000 people. Just consider that as part of your job to make life livable for the seniors. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, and thank you for speaking up. That's actually a good point. Before we go to the looks like repeat comment online, let me just check, does anybody in the room that hasn't had an opportunity to make a comment, or anybody online that hasn't had an opportunity to make a comment, if you'd like to make a comment, just move to the microphone or raise your hand online. Go ahead. Go ahead and start with your name and your place of residence.
My name is James Gaffeller. I live in Olathe in Johnson County. I've lived in my house for 10 years, 11 years. When I came, my taxes were $1,600. This year, they're going to be $4,100. So I've been there 10 years. I'm not so dissatisfied with your increase, but it seemed to me like in a 1 year, when you don't some help because you didn't get as much revenue. And then a year later, you have a really cold year, you have to buy gas outside because you don't have enough gas, so you need another stipend. There's too many things that are available for you to ask for money. You know, if we overpay, we can't go to the bank and say, we need some money, just give it to us. And you guys are doing that. So if you overpay, if you overspend, you just you're just like the government who has no job, that does not have to have an income that you have to grow. You just come and say, we need some more money. So we're going to pay you, ask you for 11% more. So when I'm 82, I cannot walk anymore. I can't hardly, well, I can walk, but I can't go very far, and I cannot work anymore. So I worked from 65 to 79, and I thought it was all fun money. I was only making maybe $6 or $7 an hour. But when I had a problem, I had some money that I had away in the backside that I could pay for things. But all that money's gone now. I don't know what's going to happen here in the next few years. I thought had enough to get to the grave, but I don't know whether it'll happen or not. So thank you very much.
You. All right, looks like we have another comment here in the room. If you'll start with your name and place of residence.
Katie Jardu, excuse me, Olathe, Kansas. Appreciate everyone's comments and just wanted to say, I'm in a 2-income household, but the majority of our expenses are to medical costs. We have 2 kids with needs. And so, yeah, I mean, I did really appreciate the comment that this should be made available to commercial customers. That was new to me. It seems odd that this wouldn't be made available to them. But also, the 2.8% increase is much more manageable than 11%. I understand that things need to be done and appreciate the conversation I've had with Atmos. But 11 is, I think it hurts a lot of people. It hurts more than just, I guess, seniors. Not to discount their hurt as well, but it affects families who are 2-income trying to make it as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anyone else in the room or online that hasn't made a comment yet? All right, I will go back. I believe it was Arturo. If you'd be able to unmute, you can supplement your comment now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you for taking my next comment. So I would just like to, I guess my comment will be to all the customers, because I've heard a lot of the comments, and I've heard a lot of comments basically say, well, I will be okay with a 3%, 2% increase. And I think we're looking at it at the wrong, in the wrong angle, because I'll reiterate what I said. Atmos makes enough money to invest in their company, to invest in whatever new projects that they need to do. They're using the profits for shareholders. My big point is they should not be increasing the money that they pay to shareholders while taking money from their customers. I would also like to point that, yes, this is an 11% increase, and I'm pretty sure the next year or the following year, they're not going to reduce our cost by 11%. The rate's just going to stay the same. And in 5 years, whenever they want to increase the rate again, it's going to be on top of the 11% that they already raised. So I understand that companies always needs to make money, but you're making plenty of profits. And I'll just mention that. And thanks for taking my comment.
Yes, thank you. All right. I'm not seeing anyone else at the microphone. I'm not seeing any more hands online. So at this time, can we put up the slide that has the information on making public comments, please? So I do want to remind everyone that the public comment period is open until 5 p.m. on January 20th, 2026. This slide gives you all the information you need to either make an additional comment or make your first comment. Those comments will be given the same weight as if you had spoken here tonight. As people have mentioned, they are put together by our public affairs staff and they are filed into the record just alongside all of the other evidence that we receive in the case. And we do consider those public comments. So if you're able, take a picture of this. I think the handouts that our public affairs staff have a lot of this information on there as well. So definitely encourage you to take advantage of the remaining public comment period. I'll also note that the evidentiary hearing for this matter, where we receive all the evidence, we get an opportunity to question witnesses, that is scheduled to begin in Topeka in the commission's first floor hearing room on January 26th of next year at 9 a.m. and to run for 3 days ending on January 28th. Finally, after having that hearing, the commission must issue a decision in this case by March 24th of 2026. This does conclude the public hearing. Thank you for joining us, and we are now adjourned.